This 17 News at Noon podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Noon podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Well, good afternoon. I am Elena Rusk. We have Chief Forecaster Kevin Charette here to begin our forecast with, of course, the weather. It is the talk of the town, the talk of the county, really the entire state startled by the storm, even though you were talking about it yesterday in our Futurecast.
Yeah, you were around town with the girls earlier, taking the daycare and stuff, and that was the talk of the town.
Yes, everywhere we went, dropping off the kids everywhere. I was like, okay, keep them inside. They're like, no, we heard, we woke up to it. What's going on?
Well, and it's going to continue this afternoon, possibly worsening as we head into this evening. It all kicked off right around 3 o'clock as I was just waking up. We really started to see the atmosphere become active. We were seeing cloud to cloud, cloud to ground. So a lot of lightning strikes around Kern County. And yes, we have had some fires reported around the Kern County area. Our firefighters, I'll tell you, they know how to knock these things down. They've been working very hard.
And of course, we always want your social media pictures and videos as well, as long as you can do that safely. All right, but for now, as we were talking about the fires out there, a big wildfire threat for our day ahead. And with the state's drought, we know that any spark can quickly get out of control. Kern County firefighters telling us today's lightning has so far created nearly 50 separate fires. The department saying county firefighters stepped up, just like Kevin was saying, many of them returning to work from home to ensure our communities stay safe. Now, one of those fires we are watching has been named the Thunder Fire, burning southeast of I-5 and Edmonston Pumping Plant Road. That's near the site of the plant fire that burned there at the base of the Grapevine just 11 days ago. Tulare County fire crews also tell us they are putting out several lightning-caused fires to the north, but confirm they are small spot fires, which they expect to control today. All right, let's get into some of our other news headlines and an update now on an alert put out by the Bakersfield Police Department yesterday about a suspicious situation. A young girl walking in South Bakersfield reportedly being pulled into a van. Someone reported witnessing the young girl getting pulled in about 12:30 yesterday afternoon near the intersection of South Haley Street and Potomac Avenue. Last night, BPD told 17 News there are no missing persons reports matching the girl's description, adding officers contacted the parents of all students attending summer school in the area and confirmed their children are okay. They also contacted the sheriff's department. That girl was described as a Hispanic, 5 or 6 years old, wearing a black shirt, green shorts, and carrying a backpack. Anyone with information on this report is asked to call the BPD at 327-7111. Now to some headlines around the world. The deadliest earthquake in decades rocked Afghanistan this morning, killing an estimated 1,000 people. After Afghanistan's state-run news agency reporting the powerful quake struck a rural mountainous region of the country's east, killing 1,000 people and injuring 1,500 more, and officials warn already that grim toll may still rise. Information remained scarce on the magnitude 5.9 quake near the Pakistani border, but early footage from villages tucked among those rough mountainous areas showed residents picking through rubble of collapsed stone and mud brick homes. And in headlines around the nation, hundreds of cars, trucks, and recreational vehicles backed up in long lines at entrances to Yellowstone National Park as it partially reopened this morning following destructive floods that closed the park last week. Park managers raised the gates Wednesday at 3 of Yellowstone's 5 entrances for the first time since last Monday. That day, 10,000 visitors were ordered out after rivers across northern Wyoming and southern Montana surged over their banks following a torrent of rainfall that accelerated the spring snowmelt. Some of the premier attractions in America's first national park will again be viewable, including Old Faithful, but the wildlife-rich northern half of the park will be closed until at least early July. Meanwhile, in headlines around the state, Congress wants to protect California's historic giant sequoias from fire. Bakersfield Representative Kevin McCarthy helped introduce the Save Our Sequoias Act, which he says would make common sense reforms to forest management practices to reduce the risk of catastrophic fires. It's true that giant sequoias need fire and heat to propagate their seeds, but California's increasingly devastating fire seasons have actually begun destroying the thousands of year-old trees. The bipartisan bill provides money and resources to restore and help increase the fire resiliency of the world's largest trees by thinning undergrowth, conducting prescribed burns, and reforesting burn scars. The bill would actually create a federal emergency declaration, providing $325 million over the next decade for these efforts.
Hello, this is Tim Callahan with Clinica Sierra Vista, and we're excited to unveil the Community Health Center of the Future, our comprehensive care center. It's located right across the street from Memorial Hospital. We have every service under one roof, from family medicine, OB/GYN care, dental services for adults and children, behavioral health, and much more. So find your way to better care at Clinica Sierra Vista this year at our comprehensive care center. Visit our website, clinicasierravista.org, for the latest on this project. We'll see you soon.
And now, looking ahead in a little bit of lighter news, stargazers looking forward to a parade of the planets this week as Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn all align in an arc for the first time in 18 years. Now, you won't need a telescope to see this rare grouping of planets, as they will all be visible to the naked eye, but it still may be difficult to see all 5 of them because of how dim Mercury appears. The best day for viewing will be early this Friday when the waning crescent moon joins that lineup of planets. The best time to look at the sky is about 45 minutes to an hour before sunrise through the end of the month. Keep in mind, we have some of the earliest sunrises of the year this month, so that means the ideal viewing time is before 5 a.m. You're going to look off to the southeast. The moon will appear positioned between Venus and Mars. And then, of course, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn still visible for most mornings in July, but the group of planets will spread out further and further and further as the month goes on. This parade of planets won't happen again until 2040. Well, in your business headlines, testifying to the Senate Banking Committee this morning, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell sought to reassure the public that the Fed will raise interest rates high and fast enough to quell inflation without tightening credit so much as to throttle the economy and potentially cause a recession. Powell faced skeptical questions from members of both parties about the Fed's ability to tame this inflation. Democrats wondered whether the Fed's accelerated rate hikes will succeed in curbing inflation or might instead just tip the economy into a downturn. Several Republicans charged that the Powell Fed had moved too slowly to begin raising rates and now must speed up its hikes and endanger the economy as a result. Well, now to health headlines. A controversial product at the center of the conversation about underage vaping could soon be banned. Right now, NBC Nightly News is working to get comments from the FDA on reports the government will force Juul e-cigarettes off the market. This comes after Juul stopped selling some flavors of its e-cigarettes, including fruit and mint. Critics and health experts say Juul started targeted, that is, young people, with its marketing. And this comes amid epidemic levels of teen vaping. Tune in to Nightly News to see what FDA action could mean for consumers and other companies. Meanwhile, HPV vaccination rates are on the rise across the U.S., according to a recent CDC study. Researchers studied data from 2015 to 2020 and found that teens ages 13 to 17 with at least one dose of the vaccine increased about 20%. Those who had completed the series also increased in that 5-year period. The study found that the gender gap in vaccination rates between boys and girls dropped to just 3% in 2020. Children who start the HPV vaccine series on or after their 15th birthday need 3 doses given over 6 months. HPV infections and cervical precancers have dropped since 2006, when HPV vaccines were first made available. And now to an update on safe sleeping for your infants. The American Academy of Pediatrics has changed their recommendations for reducing infant deaths while sleeping, now emphasizing babies need to sleep on a flat, non-inclined surface. The officials also strongly discourage bed sharing with adults. The previous safe sleep recommendations still stand, which include making sure infants under age 1 sleep in a crib or bassinet on their back without any soft toys, pillows, crib bumpers, blankets, or other bedding. The AAP reports approximately 3,500 infants die from sleep-related infant deaths annually here in the U.S. That annual number of deaths has remained about the same since a substantial decline in deaths in the 1990s as the result of a national educational campaign to put babies on their backs to sleep alone in a safe space.
The 17 News at Noon podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.